When anyone brings up the topic of character nerfs in Smash, the main examples would obviously be characters like Smash 4 Bayonetta, Brawl Meta Knight, and even characters who didn't need it. But the most overlooked character is the one that's been hiding under our noses all this time. Kirby made his debut to the world in 1992 with the release of Kirby's Dream Land, published on a Nintendo Game Boy. This game did numbers, and by numbers I mean f***ing Christ. Not only did Kirby's Dream Land sell incredibly well on this thing, a lot of mainline and spin-off titles saw similar if not the same amounts of success. This caused Kirby to become one of the most well-known and talked about video game characters ever. And with all the success and the fact that he's Sakurai's baby, it wasn't surprising that he'd make an appearance on his next big and innovative project. Before Smash was plagued by the influx of both Pokemon reps and a mistake, the roster was much smaller, the animations were a lot weirder, and Kirby was apparently a lot better. When Smash was still new to the gaming scene, there were a lot of mechanics in the game that could nowadays be considered broken, with shitty recoveries, a smaller moveset, and even this shit. And while there wasn't much of a competitive scene, if one at all, there definitely was some very obvious top tiers. Key one being Kirby. Yeah, honestly, I'm just as surprised as you seeing him being anything more than this. Alongside Pikachu, Kirby currently sits at the S spot in the tier list due to his strong and fast attacks that can kill anyone under 100%, a great edge guarding game considering he has one of the best recoveries, and great spacing due to a horrendously disjointed back air. Sakurai really has a habit of doing this, huh? He also has this bullshit. But with these strengths come obvious weaknesses. For example, remember when I said he had one of the best recoveries in the game? Yeah, you forgot what game this was, didn't you? It doesn't matter. Smash 64 was very infamous with bad recoveries. No matter how good of a character you are, you get hit off stage once, you better pray to some god that your opponent isn't good enough to realize one hit is an instant KO. This packed in with the fact that Kirby was a light character, which made him extremely vulnerable to getting juggled, which isn't fun. Despite these weaknesses, his strengths far outweigh them by a mile, at least enough to have good tournament results in the late 2010s, but I'm only imagining the conversations in the 1990s with something like this. Dude, this character feels broken.
Nah, I'm not good with him, so I think he sucks.
Oh. Okay, well then he's bad. While he was and still is considered one of 64's best characters, it wouldn't be long until Sakurai would crush his most prized creation and things would change for the worst.
When Nintendo GameCube comes to market, we think we've got a great answer. Take a look.
With the release of the infamously failed but iconic GameCube came along a new Smash game. I mean, hey, the first one did so well, why not make a second one? And shit, while we're at it, let's wash our car and clean your house. Melee drove in not only new players to Smash, but it also expanded upon the first game with new stages, more characters, new mechanics, a full moveset, and no, my baby! Melee was the start of competitive Smash, and just like most competitive games, there had to be a tier list. Tier lists are mainly made to determine what characters are tournament viable and what characters you should avoid like the Black Plague. While there were some jank and frankly broken characters of the S and A tiers, all the way at the bottom were the complete opposite. Kirby was and still is considered one of the worst characters in Melee, ranking 25th just barely above Bowser. You may be thinking, but K, just the game before he was one of the most broken characters ever. What happened to him? And to that I respond, oh, you don't know just how heavy the nerf hammer can hit somebody. Compared to the game prior, Kirby's overall power was just severely nerfed. Most of his attacks were considerably weaker and had smaller sweet spots, which made KOing opponents near impossible. He had some of the worst approach options, if any at all, and the lack of good projectiles. And he also went from having one of the best combo abilities in Smash 64 to one of the worst in Melee. All that tied up with this.
Outside of the ledge when coming back. Yep. That's one of the bad things about Kirby. When you mash out of the throws, you can... Oh, no jumps at all, huh?
Yeah, do you still think this character's good? With all this roped in with Kirby barely having any winning matchups, it's not surprising that if Bowser was just a bit better, Kirby would be the worst character in the game. Seeing such a powerful character have such a fall from grace is a painful sight to see, and it really didn't get much better. With the introduction of Brawl, people were desperately begging for this game to die out, because I swear to God if I have to hear this sound one more time, I'm gonna lose my shit. Brawl ended up failing, people went back to Melee. Yeah, Brawl wasn't the best game. Some people may even call it bad. The gameplay was slower, competitive balance was god-awful, and Brawl Meta Knight mixing with random tripping meant, fine, I'll go back to melee, you don't have to threaten my family. While Kirby was sort of buffed in Brawl, it still didn't make him any good, it just made him better than the others. He was given back his combo ability, having one of the strongest in the game. He has many great setups into attack strings that connect more than well, one of the strongest grabs in the game, and they can even kill now. And all that's counteracted by the fact that it has slow movement speed and lack of projectiles, which makes it difficult to approach campers. Hey, it could have been worse. God damn it. Smash 4 wasn't Kirby's strong suit, but hey, it wasn't many characters' strong suit. If you noticed my last video, I briefly breezed past Smash 4 making a one-off joke and skipping straight to Ultimate, but unfortunately I can't do the same thing. Okay, but in all seriousness, Smash 4 was a really bad game. It basically feels like a more polished version of Brawl, just with worse mechanics. Rage was busted, characters were too light and floaty, which made 0 to deaths much easier than they should be, custom moves were bullshit, and
Ryze was getting ready to start something up. 2 back airs, plus the witch twist.
I'm starting to see a repeated theme in Smash titles. Kirby was one of the lightest and floatiest characters in the game, and even though he had really good recovery, come on, it was predictable. And just like the past 2 other games, his mobility was slow and he lacked projectiles. Come on, start taking notes, Sakurai. Also, since he was very small, it gave him fairly poor reach, which meant his grabs were bad again. This ranked him, yet again, F tier. But at least he's better than them. While Smash Ultimate wasn't the first to release constant patches to balance characters, they were the first to do it good. Until they weren't. This game was a huge step up from Smash 4, with a bunch of low tiers becoming high tiers becoming low tiers, and Kirby was something. Many people were hoping this could be a redemption arc for Kirby, praying that he could be god anything but an F or D tier, and he was for a while. Then reality hit. So this is how it feels to have all your hopes and dreams shot down, huh? With many of the same problems he suffered from previous Smash titles, plus the influx of sword and projectile users, which makes it so much worse to be reminded of your slow approaching options, all factored with the rise of Ultimate Online. Are you really surprised this character isn't the best? I'm not saying that Ultimate Kirby isn't viable. For a D tier character, he produces solid results in all honesty. I'm just saying, there are better options. Preferably not that one. While Kirby may not be the best in Ultimate, it's honestly 10 times better than what was done in previous Smash titles, so I guess you get what you get. I mean, hey, that's not gonna stop me from doing this online, so I'm smooth chillin'. While Kirby started off strong and eventually had a fairly brutal fall from grace, it doesn't change the fact that he's still a fun character to play. Yeah, I mean, I prefer if he was a bit higher on the tier list, but not everything should be approached at a competitive view. If you have fun playing the character you personally like and prefer playing him, that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Don't let some dumb stupid tier list or pro players discourage you from having fun playing the game that you love and enjoy. At the end of the day, we can all still say we're better than gamers.
Step.